Welcome to this week's edition of Travel Tips here on Back to the Peaceful Sea. Today we're going to be diving into the details of how to pick a place to go, because looking at a map of the whole world can be a little daunting, and you need to make a decision if you're ever going to actually go anywhere.
So what I like to do when I'm trying to pick a place is the first thing I'll do is I will just look at where I can get a cheap flight. And I'm usually flying out of Dallas, so I'll do that. And I've been wanting to go and plan on going next year to the Faroe Islands. Now, there aren't a lot of flights there, but I can look for, you know, a cheap flight there. And if it's a little out of my price range, maybe, you know, I fly to Copenhagen, where you can fly there for much cheaper, and things like that. And I'll look, you know, maybe at Ireland. I want to go back to Ireland, so I'll look there, you know, maybe once a month to see what's cheap. I want to go to Hong Kong at some point, so I'll look that up. I'll just get on Skyscanner maybe for, you know, a couple hours every month and see what's cheap and what's generally easy to get to, and what, you know, flights are good, because some of them may be cheap, but it may be 40 hours in the air, and it's not fun. So that's generally my process is just finding where flights are the cheapest.
I'd say that's a pretty good process, just because that's going to dictate the price for your whole trip, most likely, is how much the flight is going to cost. And so that's a good way to do it, and we'll have an episode detailing out how to book a flight and how to find the cheapest flights. That'll be in a week or two, so look for that. For now, for my process is, you can see here, I am on Google Maps. I pretty much just look at a region of the world that I am kind of interested in and pick a spot. I click, and then, let's see, do Kazakhstan.
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? Go to the satellite version just to see what the landscape kind of looks like. Are there any big lakes or mountains? What kind of terrain it is? That looks really pretty. Yeah. Look at that. It's like Tengiz. Okay, so let's say I want to fly into there. Try to pronounce that name.
Kurgal Dijkinski.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Mm-hmm. That looks beautiful.
It does look
It's got a
beautiful.
really cool river running through it.
It's a Brad Pitt movie.
Oh, there's no Google Street View
Shocker.
in Kazakhstan, which is unfortunate. But in another place, I would look at Google Street View. But it's got this really beautiful river running all the way through here and ending up in this giant lake. And I'll just an even bigger lake over here, Lake Tengiz. So that's what I'll do, and then I'll start researching prices on how to get there, and see if it's cheap or if it's super expensive. And depending on that, then I won't go, or I will go.
Yeah. My next process is just finding them naturally in shows and documentaries and things. Like, you know, we watch The Long Way Round and The Long Way Down all the time, and, you know, you don't really think about Africa, and then you see some of the places they're going in Long Way Down, and they're just beautiful, and places that I very much would like to go, you know, on lakes with amazing wildlife and things like that. So that, and then I'll watch a lot of, not Top Gear, their new one, Grand Tour on Amazon. I watch every episode of that, and the first season they went to, I believe it was Namibia, and they kind of went through the desert there, and there was just some beautiful parts of Namibia that seemed amazing. The people seemed very nice, and there was just some real beauty there amongst the desert, and you know, so you can kind of find off the beaten path spots like that just by watching you know, TV shows and then documentaries and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the biggest thing to keep in mind is that there's always going to be reasons not to go to a place. For instance, Barcelona has a huge reputation for being a city full of pickpockets.
I got pickpocketed.
We got pickpocketed. We got the wallet back though, because we chased them down. But there's always going to be reasons not to go to a place, and the only legitimate reason to not go to a place is if there's a whole bunch of
war. Like I wouldn't go to Aleppo, Syria right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going to Syria or Yemen or Saudi Arabia at the moment.
Yeah.
So unless there's national news coverage of a whole bunch of killing or war going on in a specific country or specific place, there's really no reason not to go somewhere, because anywhere you go there's going to be beauty and fun things to do.
It's almost always true. Even the places, except for Podgorica, Montenegro, every place is pretty good. I enjoyed almost every place except for that one. It was devoid of any adventure, any fun whatsoever.
And if you'll notice here on the map, it's this dry, nothing area surrounded by these really beautiful mountains.
Montenegro was beautiful, and we went to the one awful place in it.
Yeah, basically. It's not a pretty city.
No, but the rest of it, driving through the countryside, was stunning, and I would definitely go back to Montenegro. Just certainly not Podgorica.
No, I wouldn't go to Podgorica. So yeah, just don't get discouraged. Don't listen to people who are like, well, the place is full of thieves. Just when you're traveling, just travel smart and don't have your wallet in your back pocket.
And don't even listen to the people who will tell you, oh, I've been there, a friend of mine went there and hated it. Like, don't listen to those people. You have a place you want to go, and you have your reasons for wanting to go there, whether it's beauty, whether you know people there, whether you want to try the local beers because you've heard good stuff. I don't know why you want to go there, but you have your reasons. Don't let anybody talk you out of it, because places that people told us were awful on our trip, we absolutely loved. And nobody told us about, Belgium, and we loved Ghent, maybe most of all. And so don't let anybody tell you or discourage you from going somewhere because they heard that it sucked. That's what's called anecdotal evidence, and it's for losers. So go find out for yourself, and maybe it does suck, but even if it does suck, there's always an adventure to be had and a good story from it. So
I definitely would not ever not go somewhere just because somebody told me not to. I would probably go somewhere because somebody told me to go there, but I would never not go to a place without checking it out for myself.
Just remember, there's Georgia the state and Georgia the country. And Jake thought he was moving to Georgia the country, but turns out he's just in Atlanta, and he was very disappointed.
Yeah, the move wasn't quite as far as us.
Yeah, he bought a plane ticket and everything. It's bad.
Also, when you're researching places and you do want to know what the travel advisories are, you can go to travel.state.gov. You can view all the travel advisories. They have different levels. Do not travel to Afghanistan. Exercise normal precautions in Albania. Reconsider travel to Burundi and Burkina Faso. Do not travel to the Central African Republic. It's got all these precautions on here, and where it tells you exactly where you should not travel to.
But remember, these are just for generally American citizens. So if you're not an American, then some of these places you should look up through your own government, because obviously it's different for Americans and non-Americans.
Right.
So.
And sometimes it applies to everybody, like Somalia. I don't think I'd advise traveling to Somalia or Syria.
I think Syria is fair.
I guess there's four levels. Exercise normal precautions, exercise increased caution, reconsider travel, and do not travel, which is a good little barometer there. For international travel, just have a whole bunch of sweet things that you can learn about the countries that you want to go to. So we said Kazakhstan. This website has definitely gotten much better since the first time we looked at it. Passport validity. Your passport must be valid for 3 months at the time of entry. You don't need any vaccinations. you need no blank passport pages.
So,
That's nice. Those staying longer than 30 days, and then it has.
oh wow. So you don't need a visa unless you're staying for more than 30 days. That's
That's
rare
awesome.
for a country like Kansas.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then it shows you the addresses of all the U.S. embassies and the consulates and all sorts of like entry and exit visa required, without a visa for up to 30 days. Safety and security, it'll tell you about crime and all sorts of stuff. Healthcare, what kind of insurance you might need. Travel and transportation, what the road conditions are, and different public transport. And then you can do this for every single country. And then it'll show you the alerts that were and what day they were published. So the most recent one is May 29th. Meningococcal infection in Almaty.
And that's steer clear.
Yeah, so just don't go to Almaty and you'll be fine. Primary elections, interesting. Town hall meeting. I'm assuming that has to do with the meningococcal infection. Passport fee increase.
It's increasing from $25 to $35.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty standard. I would say most of ours were somewhere between $20 and $100. The high ones were
Passport
I think,
execution fee.
That's if you don't have a passport, you get executed, but you have to pay them $35 first.
So yeah, let's say we look up another country, like, what's one that requires a visa? India?
India.
Let's do India. Got India, exercise increased caution due to crime and terrorism. We didn't come across any of that while we were there.
No.
So definitely take some of the alerts with a grain of salt. Required for yellow fever. If you're coming from an infected area, we got yellow fever for our trips anyway, so it doesn't really apply to us. But if you're going there from a place like Thailand, then you have to have yellow fever vaccine. 2 pages required for your passport, which is ridiculous, but it is what it is. So it's hard to find the price on India's website for a visa. So we just did a quick Google search and it popped up $60 for a 6-month multiple entry, which is way better than what ours was, way cheaper, and multiple entry, which is awesome, or $150 for 5 years. The max you can stay in India actually is 60 days at a time, which is plenty.
Plenty.
You can see so much. And then if you have the multiple entry, you can just leave and come back. So not that big of a deal. And that's India for you.
That does it for this edition of Travel Tips. Picking a place, so just find one in a movie, get on Google Maps, find a place, and if you need more tips on how to get there, come back every week. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Definitely subscribe. If you want more of this kind of stuff, we can help you get around the world on a small budget. So keep coming back every week for more travel inspiration and wallet preservation here on Back to the Peaceful Sea.